we have learned gravitational force, one of the force, and its effects, and its effects on the various objects. Now we shall be learning another kind of force, electromagnetic force, which is responsible for various forces that you have already learned. For example, frictional force, tension force, spring force. These are all because of this electromagnetic force. Okay. Electromagnetic force is basically the forces between the two charges. Electromagnetic force is basically force between the two charges. Over and above the gravitational force G m1 m2 by r square, the particles may exert upon each other electromagnetic forces. If two particles having charges q1 and q2 are at rest with respect to the observer, the force between them has magnitude of F is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Epsilon naught. Okay. This epsilon naught symbol. And its value is 8.8 into 10 power minus 12. Q1, Q2 are the charges, they are separated by R. Is equivalent to this. See, if you compare this, here G similar to this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Okay. And this 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught value is 9 into 10 power 9. Epsilon naught value is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12. Okay. Q1, Q2 are the charges and R is the separation between them. So this is called Coulomb force. Okay. Electromagnetic force or Coulomb force is called is responsible for frictional force and spring force and tension force. And this force act along the line joining the two charges. You know. Yeah, ordinary matter is composed of electrons, protons, and neutrons. Each electron has 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb of negative charge, and each proton has an equal amount of positive charge. Yeah, the atoms combine to form molecules due to electromagnetic forces. Okay, molecules in between the molecules. If you go in depth of molecules, there are atoms. So because of this electromagnetic interaction between the atoms, it results in formation of a molecule. Okay. Okay. So here he has explained clearly the frictional force, which is also due to electromagnetic interaction between the two between the atoms of two different objects. For example, you are keeping the book on the table. Okay, there is a upward force, normal force by the table, and there is a weight of the book by the book on the table. Okay, but there is also a parallel force. These are perpendicular forces. There is also a parallel force. When you slide this book, then there is a parallel force acts on it, and that kind of force is, you apply the force on this book, there is a frictional force acts opposite to its motion. That frictional force is also due to electromagnetic interaction between the atoms of book and the table. Okay. So that is what here he has explained. The same way, tension in the string also, there is a, yeah. Do you know what do you mean by tension? Tension force. Tension force is nothing but
Sir, a pulling force.
Okay. So where it occurs? Oh, when we can see this tension force?
Sir, when we pull a object by rope.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. The forces which are associated with rope.
Sir, sir, example simple pendulum.
Yes, very good. The forces which are associated with rope, thread, wire, rod, cylindrical rod, all those things. And whenever a body is hanged to this rope, either string or a rope, thread, okay, wire, or a cylindrical rod, okay, then the tension force exert onto the rope or the wire by the hanged mass. Okay, and tension force is always away from the body. Okay, the direction of tension force is always away from the body. For example, if any mass is hanged, okay, for this string, then the tension force will act away from the body, that is upward. And gravitational force will act downwards. Okay. If you take this situation, for example, a body is attached with a string and it is kept on the surface. Then I know the tension direction, whether it is leftwards or rightwards. What is the tension direction for case B? Can anyone please? You please remember, tension force is a pulling force, or it acts away from the object. Okay, tension direction in this case is leftwards, not rightwards. Okay, tension direction is leftwards. Tension direction is leftwards, not rightwards. It is a very, very basic question I have asked. And in this case, if such is the case, then can you tell me the tension direction, please?
Sir, right.
Yeah, very good. It is away from the body, so tension direction is rightwards. Okay, and then if you take this condition, tension force is in which direction?
Downwards.
What?
Yeah, very good.
Sir,
Downwards.
upward.
Downwards.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So tension force always acts away from the body, or it is a pulling force, we can say. So it pulls the body. Okay. So this kind of forces is also because of electromagnetic interaction between the atoms of mass which is hanged and atoms of rope or a thread or a wire or a string. Okay. So tension force is also because of electromagnetic interaction, and friction force is also because of electromagnetic interaction. In the same way, the force due to spring also because of electromagnetic interaction. Okay. Whenever you take a spring, then if you try to stretch it by applying a force in this direction, and you can also stretch stretch the spring and you can also compress the spring. And whenever you are compressing or stretching the spring, and if whenever you release the load which you are applied, then again it comes to the same state. Okay. Again it comes to same state. That is because of restoring force. There is something called restoring force is acting, okay, which can restore the spring to the original form. Okay. And this friction spring force expression is F is equal to K into delta X. How much is the extension or how much is the compression? Delta X means change in length. Okay. When you apply, when you extend it, its length increases. When you compress it, its length decreases. The change in length is different. And that K into change in length, where K is the force constant. Force constant. If you know the K value, then we can understand how much elastic is the spring is. More is the K value, more is the K value, okay, more is the extension, like that. These are also because of electromagnetic interaction between the particles of atoms of one to other. That electron proton attraction, electron repulsion, it is also because of electromagnetic force. Okay, that is only we call it as Coulomb force. Here let us try to understand the macroscopic bodies which we have to generally deal with are electrically neutral. Okay. Hence, two bodies in contact do not exert appreciable electromagnetic forces. The forces between the charged particles of the first body and those of the second body have both attractive and repulsive nature, and hence they largely cancel each other. This is not the case with gravitational forces. So when you take macroscopic point of view, there are equal number of electrons and protons in the body in an atom. So they are actually electrically neutral, and this kind of forces you will not experience. You will not experience much as compared with the gravitational force that what you experience. There is an electromagnetic force, but we will not experience that. But we will experience it as a frictional force, spring force, and tension force. Okay. So, so here the gravitational force between the Earth and a 1 kg block kept 100 meter above the Earth's surface is about 9.8 Newton, whereas electromagnetic force between the Earth and this block is almost zero. Though both these bodies contain a very large number of charged particles. Okay. So whenever a body which is kept a 1 kg body, you take 1 into 9.8, 1 into G, that is 9.8 Newton is acting on that 1 kg body. But there is also electromagnetic force which is kept the same 1 kg body at a 100-meter height above the surface. But what is happening? There is a there is a there is something called range. Okay, electromagnetic forces are short range compared with gravitational force. Okay, so they act only within a certain distance, only within a certain range. If the two particles are separated by very small distance, it is of the order of 10 power minus 10 meter or 10 power minus 15 meter, some 10 power minus 6 meter micrometer range, then electromagnetic forces becomes appreciable. But if the range is very, if the separation is high between the two bodies, then it is very difficult, okay, to exert a or to perceive or to experience a electromagnetic force. Here is one example. This one. Very interesting. If there is no charge neutrality, then what would be the effect of electromagnetic force? If there is no charge neutrality, that means electron charge and proton charge both are not equal, let us say. And electron has a charge of 1% less than the magnitude of the proton charge. Then what will be the effect of electromagnetic force on the bodies? Let us try to understand with this example. Let's take an iron of mass 1 kg, each of mass 1 kg separated by a distance 1 meter. Okay, and the number of protons in an iron atom is 26 because proton number is the atomic number and that is 26. And 58 kg of iron contains 6 into 10 power 26 atoms. Okay. So if you just try to understand the Coulomb force, each atom of iron will have a net positive charge. Why? Because electron is having 1% less in magnitude than the proton charge. Okay. So each atom will have a net positive charge. There is no charge neutrality in that case. Then what happens? You see 26 protons into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, which is a proton charge. And how much they are? More? 1% more than the electron charge. So that is 1 by 100, which is 0.01. Okay. 26 into 0.01 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. Extra charge will be present for each atom. If there is a net positive charge, it will be present. Okay. So on it, then the total positive charge on a 1 kg block would be. So for 58 kg, there are 6 into 10 power 26 atoms. Okay. So 6 into 10 power 26 atoms into net positive charge on the proton, that is 26 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 21 coulomb, and but we are trying to find out for 1 kg. So that's why by 58 kg we are doing. This is for 58 kg. If you do for 58 by 58 kg, then you will get the positive charge on a 1 kg block. It is around 4.3 into 10 power 5 coulomb. Okay, the charge is now became 10 power 4.3 into 10 power 5 coulomb. Then you take the expression of Coulomb force 1 by 4 pi epsilon into q1 q2 by r square, where 1 by 4 pi epsilon value is 9 into 10 power 9. q1 is 4.3 into 10 power 5. It is also 4.3 into 10 power 5 because we are taking a 1 kg mass is separated by 1 meter square. So R is 1. Substitute. Then the Coulomb force value is 1.7 into 10 power 21 Newton. 10 power 21. If charge neutrality doesn't exist, then you can see the effect of electromagnetic force in between 1 kg masses separated by a 1 meter. Then you can understand that the gravitational force in that case will be. You can also compare gravitational force in that case for 1 kg mass. You just compare please. Find out the gravitational force also for 1 kg mass. So 1 kg mass is 9.8 Newton, and here 10 power 21 Newton. It is of the order of 10 power 21 Newton. You can understand at that time how much its effect will be. Next type of forces, nuclear force. Each atom contains a certain number of protons and neutrons in its nucleus. The nucleus occupies a volume of 10 power minus 44 meter cube. whereas the atom itself 10 power minus 23 meter cube. Thus, the nucleus occupies 1 by 10 power 21 of the volume of the atom. So, but it contains 99.98% of the mass of the atom. So, there are nuclear forces. Okay, there are nuclear forces in between. Okay. For example, the atomic nucleus of a non-reactive, I repeat, for example, you take a helium nuclei, that means you are removing the 2 electrons, there are only 2 protons in it, 2 protons are having the positive charge, and according to Coulomb force, they should repel each other and the nucleus have to break. But this is the thing is not happening in the real case. Then there is some other force which is responsible to hold the nucleus of each and every atom. So that force is called as nuclear forces. Okay, they exert in between 2 protons or 2 neutrons, a proton and neutron, such kind of force in between proton, 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 neutron, neutron, proton, called nuclear forces, and they are very short range compared with Coulombic force and also gravitational force. Okay, they will act only for a smaller separation of around 10 power minus 15 meter, and it is very strong in such separation compared with the Coulomb force and gravitational force. Okay, nuclear force is strong compared with the Coulomb force and gravitational force, but it is very short range. It's very short range. Okay. Being short range, these forces come into picture only if the changes within the nucleus are discussed. Okay. So this radioactivity, nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, which are all result of nuclear forces. Okay. So in the sun, if you see, there is a nuclear fusion. That is combination of 2 nuclei is taking place. That is because of nuclear force, and that results in huge amount of energy in sun, stars. Okay, this is all because of nuclear forces between two nuclei. Okay, in the case of bombs, there is a nuclear fission is taking place, splitting of nuclei into 2 or 3 nucleus. Okay, in the case of radioactivity also, these are all because of nuclear forces. The forces between neutron, proton are responsible for these phenomena. Another type of force called weak forces. Okay. So that is when reactions involving protons, electrons and neutrons take place. A neutron can change itself into a proton and simultaneously emit an electron and a particle called antineutrino. So when you observe the reactions in between within the nucleus, okay, if you go in depth, there is something called a branch in physics called particle physics. Okay, which talks about the particles which are evolved due to the nucleons interaction. For example, a neutron can change itself into a proton and simultaneously emit an electron and a particle called antineutrino. Okay. This is called beta decay. Never think that a neutron is made up of a proton and electron and an antineutrino. It's not like that. Okay. But if you see the reactions of the neutron, it will emit a proton as well as electron as well as a particle called antineutrino. So the forces among these particles are called weak forces. Okay. Actually speaking, macroscopically speaking, gravitational force will be there. Atomic point of view, charge point of view, you speak, there is a Coulomb force, electromagnetic force is there. And nucleons point of view, if you speak, that there are nuclear forces. And again you decrease the size, further size. If you observe the only neutron or a proton, then there is again forces within the neutron and proton. Those are called weak forces, and that you can observe, like a proton can also change into neutron and simultaneously emit a positron and a neutrino. These are all particles actually, nuclear. These are all particles which are evolved due to weak forces and due to the interaction of nucleons. Okay, within the nucleon there is an interaction again. That results in, these are all particles like antineutrino, neutrino, positron, protons from neutron from proton, and this beta decay. The range of weak forces is very small compared with the nuclear forces also. In fact, much smaller than the size of a proton or a neutron. Thus, its effect is experienced inside such particles only. When you go in deep, then only you can understand its effects of weak forces. Okay. In general, macroscopically, we don't understand, we do not perceive it or we do not experience it. So let us divide the mechanics or physics into two types, like classical physics and quantum physics. Okay, when you are talking about the large bodies, heavy bodies, that is greater than the micrometer size, then that comes under classical physics. Greater than the micrometer size, if you want to explain the particle, like bodies motion, interaction between the two bodies and the forces between them and the work, energy, power, all these terms related to the bodies which are greater than the micrometer size comes under classical physics. Okay, if the particles are less than the micrometer size, then that physics, if you want to study, that comes under quantum physics. Okay, so we will be only restricting to classical physics in first 14 chapters of this H.C. Verma mechanics topic. Will only restricting to classical physics. Whenever we go to nuclear physics, atomic physics, particle physics, those are all come under quantum physics. Okay, so Newton's laws, Maxwell electromagnetism, Newton's laws of motion, Newton's laws of gravitation, those are come under classical physics. Okay, and also there is, and also the Newton's mechanics, if you see, considerably changed when velocity is comparable to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So when you actually in the classical mechanics, number one, the size of the particles are greater than micrometer, number one, and the particles velocity is very less than the speed of light, that is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. Okay, and in the case of quantum physics, the particles are very small in size, less than the micrometer, and the speed, which is comparable to 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second speed of light, then that comes under quantum physics. And there is also relativity theory, which was explained by Einstein when the bodies are moving with a large velocities. This is what about the classical physics and quantum physics, and the forces which are act in the classical physics range are only gravitational force, and if you go in depth like electromagnetic and nuclear and weak forces, they are come under quantum physics.